Hello everyone and welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Today we have a real fun playthrough for you, and that is Legacy of Dragonholt. Now this game, there isn't a ton of information out about it. It's made by Fantasy Flight. It's going to be going through the Dragonholt universe, which I'm really excited for. But this is going to be the first game that I have that's a narrative adventure. So it's not even a cooperative board game, so to speak, but it's a cooperative narrative adventure. I'm excited to see what that means. I think it's going to be a lot of reading story and text and everything like that. So if that's not your thing, this might not be for you. And it is something that's kind of different that I haven't done on this channel much, but you guys know how much I enjoy doing the story, and theme's really important to me, so I'm really excited about jumping into this. Now in this video, I'm just going to show you how to set up the game, and I'm going to set up a character that I'm going to use, and so there'll be no spoilers for that. But then after this, I'm going to go through just the first story, but that means that there is going to be spoilers for that story going forward. So I also want to make mention of that. So if you don't want to see the spoilers, just watch how you set up your character. Also, I think Adam from Rolling Solo, he just did an unboxing video of this game, and I think he is also planning on doing a playthrough. So make sure to check his out as well, because I think you'll get to see a totally different character setup than what I'm doing, I'm sure. And he'll probably pick different choices and everything, so you can kind of see how the game can differentiate itself if you look at both playthroughs. First thing you'll want to do is get together your item deck. So there are a total of, I think, 20 item cards here. Don't look on the other side. You're just going to find them. They're going to be in alphabetical order from A to T. And you just put these to the side. You'll gain them throughout the playthrough. Then over here, you have these action tokens. Now, or activation tokens. You'll only use these if you're playing multiplayer. Since I'm going to be doing a solo game, I won't need these. They're essentially used to say, hey, I'm making a decision now, so I'll flip mine over to show that I've made a decision, and now I can't make a decision until everyone else has made a decision. Just to kind of ensure that one person isn't running the whole game. You're going to want to grab 3 different sheets to start the game. So the first one and the most important is your character sheet. This is what we're going to use for our playthrough creating our character. It looks pretty bland, I will have to say, but it's got your basic needs, right? You got your skills, experience, items, your physical description, personality, and ideals, and a background. You also have your stamina. We'll be creating a name, a race, a class, even an age, and a gender. So you really can create your own character. But there's a ton of limitations here, which actually for me is okay, because I haven't done a lot of RPGs, or really any, and so it's nice to have limitations. But if you're looking for a fully open world where you can create whatever type of character you want, this probably isn't going to be it. You're going to have a specific set of skills, only a specific set of races and classes you can use. So, but I still really like it because it is a little bit limiting. The next sheet is our story tracking sheet. Here we'll place all of our heroes that we're playing with. I'm just going to be playing with one. We start out with a total of 2 fame and 100 gold pieces. These story points, I'm assuming, are going to be used during the actual read-through of the adventure. Now, I've got to say this. I have never played this game. This is going to be the first time that I'm playing this game, so I do want to mention that as well. Usually I do 4 playthroughs before jumping in. This one, though, we're going right in, because I don't think I need the 4 plays to understand, because I think it's going to be more fun experiencing the first time with you guys. This third sheet here is specific to our first scenario, 2 new roads, and it's a tracking sheet. We'll have time, that I'm not really sure what that means, and entries that we've read. So we'll keep track of all of that here. All of these sheets you're going to find on the backs of all of the rule books that you have in the game, or the adventure book. So this first one is the 2 New Roads adventure book. And you're just going to make a scanned copy. It comes with a couple copies of the character sheet in the actual box, but I just liked how these looked with the colors, which is why I did a scan colored copy. Makes it look a little cooler. I get more into the theme of the game that way. Now we get to create our character. So I'm going to ask you guys for some help on some things, but other things I'm going to make some decisions on, since, hey, this is my character. So I'm going to make some decisions, and then I'll ask you guys, and then we can start our adventure on the next playthrough. The first thing we get to do is choose a race. Now there's 6 different races we can choose from. We can either do a human, an orc, a dwarf, an elf, a gnome, or a catfolk. I am going to do an orc because, come on, who doesn't want to be an orc, right? Orcs are the largest and most physically powerful of the civilized races, even larger and stronger than humans on average. Their lifespans, however, are brief by the standards of other races. Orcs have strong jawlines and pronounced tusk-like teeth. Their skin ranges through gray, green, and brown tones, with hair almost universally black. Now within the orc set, I can choose to be a tribunal orc or a stone dweller orc. I chose to do a stone dweller orc. Some orcs turn their back on the traditional nomadic lifestyle of their people and choose to live alongside the humans, or, more rarely, other races. These so-called stone dweller orcs are increasingly common in the free cities, and some few are even born into that life. Stone dweller orcs seek to shed the violent reputation and history of their peoples and forge a new destiny. One in great strength can still be an asset when turned to peaceful purposes after all. Sadly, the stigma of their race is hard to avoid, and many find themselves drawn to violent professions, legal or otherwise. Tribal orcs look down on their stone dweller cousins as weak. Stone dwellers see the tribunal orcs as backwards and stubborn. Life in the city can be much more comfortable, after all, and stone dweller orcs have access to training and resources that the tribunal kin don't understand. One of the things I'm going to ask you guys for help with, and Paul, I'm looking at you, is a name for my orc. Orcs use single names within their tribes, often adopting additional honorifics or epithets based on their accomplishments. Outside their tribes, they add a tribunal surname so no one will forget where they come from. When you're done watching this video, let me know if you have a suggestion for a name. I'd be really curious what you think. Now, these orc skills are really important. I have to choose 2 of these for my orc, okay? So that is a requirement. Now, I can choose more of them, and I'll show you that later when we get to decide on skills, but I have to at least use 2 of these skills, and the skills are the ones that are bolded here. I'll just read this to you. Orcs practice athletics from a young age, climbing, jumping, running, and building their endurance. Their rough play is also a form of training in brawling, as even today orcs remain a somewhat violent people. This violence expresses itself through orc justice, where trial by combat is common. Many orcs learn dueling with a variety of weapons. Living off the land and close to nature as they do, orcs must learn survival or perish. Their spirit speakers and elders are valuable tribe leaders who teach the youth the arts of devotion. The next step for our orc is choosing a class. There's a total of 7 classes that we can choose from. Now, to tell you a little bit about the orc that I'm thinking of creating, my orc comes from a family that were tribunal orcs, okay? They lived out in the wilderness. He met an elf and ended up moving into the city with humans and elves. And so he is now a stone dweller. And because of that, he has found a different calling in his life than what you would normally see for an orc, and that would be a bard. He loves to play music. I chose this because I personally love music, so I thought, hey, that's a great way to go. Although I chose the bard class, remember, he still comes from his family who is very tribunal and much more based on, physical prowess and everything. So he's going to have a little bit of both. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at for our orc. There are many minstrels in Terranok, trained to various levels of proficiency in a handful of instruments. Some are just farmers with a good ear and a mean bow on the fiddle, while others travel from court to court playing epic ballads and mournful lays for the aristocracy. But they all have one thing in common: they are not bards. To be a bard, one must be trained at a bardic college. Bards learn dozens of instruments and hundreds of songs, sagas, and scraps of lore. Once they have demonstrated their mastery of storytelling and performance, bardic students are ready to be initiated into the magical secrets of the college. Bardic magic is subtle, so subtle in fact that others doubt it is magic at all. The University of Greyhaven is divided on the question of whether the bard's ability to aid a person's healing with song is magical or merely musical. Bards are happy enough to remain cryptic on the subject. After all, they are called secrets of the Bardic College for a reason. So now, once again, we have to choose 2 of these skills, and the skills are the bold ones here, when we're creating our orc. So our orc has to have at least 2 of these skills. A bard is not a bard without some skill in performance, and deception, empathy, and persuasion are second nature to most bards, who are such keen students of people's natures, their loves, desires, and their most important stories. They are also wandering sorts in general, and so become streetwise in short order. Bards are nothing without their stories, and the best stories come from history. In fact, what is history but a series of stories encapsulating all knowledge? So after choosing both your class and your race, you now move to step 3, which is describe yourself. You are much more than your race and class. You are an individual with your own personality, interest, and story to tell. In this step, you will define the details that differentiate you from other heroes, including your name, physical description, personality, and the history that got you where you are today. So in the next couple of pages, what you're going to see is them just describing you examples of what you would put for physical description, personality, idea, and ideals, and let's see, your background over here, and some more examples. So I'll show you what I'm going to do for the orc for that, but just wanted you to see that they give you examples so you kind of know what to put as those for those different areas. So then we move on to step 4, and this is where I'm also going to hopefully ask for you guys' help. Choosing your skills. Skills represent your inherent talents and the training you have received. Each skill corresponds to some set of tasks, and having a particular skill means that you excel with those tasks. However, it's important to note that not having a skill does not mean you are incompetent in such a task. It simply means that you do not exceed the average person's level of talent. Your skill provides you with additional options when making decisions, or improves your chances of success while attempting to perform a task related to your skill. So now we get to select a total of 5 to 8 skills from the list on the next 2 pages. At least 2 of your skills must appear in your race skill test or list, and at least 2 of your chosen skills must appear in your class skill list. Any additional skills can be selected freely, but your personality and ideals might suggest which skills you do or do not have. The number of skills you select does affect your stamina, which you can see the word stamina here. Aside from skills, you have a maximum amount of stamina that represents how much you can push yourself before you collapse from exhaustion. A high stamina means you can endure more physical strain from exerting yourself or suffering damage in combat. A low stamina means you are more fragile and more likely to become overburdened by the stress of your adventures. There is a cost to having high stamina, however, or seen another way, a benefit for low stamina. Your maximum stamina, if you choose only 5 skills, is 14, but your stamina is decreased by 2 for each skill you have chosen above or beyond 5, to a minimum of 8 stamina with 8 skills. In this way, you can be exceptionally durable but have a less diverse set of skills, or you can be exceptionally talented in myriad skills but have a low stamina, or you can be somewhere in between. Also, though, this is important to note, questing in small numbers is dangerous. As such, your maximum stamina is increased if playing with 2 or fewer heroes. If you're playing with exactly 2 heroes, each increases your maximum stamina by 2. If you're playing alone, you increase your maximum stamina by 4. So what I'm doing with my orc is I would assume that an orc would have a lot of endurance, right? Would have a lot of stamina. So because of that, I'm only choosing right now 6 skills. So that way my stamina is quite high. But I'm curious to see what you guys think and see if you guys agree with the skills that I choose. So let's go through the character sheet of our orc here. First thing is I don't have a name over here because I'm hoping you guys can help me with that. Second thing is, do you see how nicely this is written? I had my wife write this so you guys can actually read it. I had a couple comments on the other playthroughs that I've done when I've written stuff that people can't read it. So, and I get that actually at work all the time, so that's why I usually type things. So yeah, this is written in Monica's handwriting, so no, my handwriting is not that nice. Okay, we've got our Stone Dweller Orc, where our class is Bard. We've got an age of 29, since that's my age. I'm deciding that's what the Orc's going to be. And we're going to be a male Orc. Now, this is a background I created for the orc, so this is all my own. Nothing here is coming from the book itself. I've just created this story just to kind of give you guys an idea of what type of orc we're having here. So our orc here, he started off as a leader of an orc clan following the steps of his father. But one summer when he spent time with the elves, he fell in love with the arts. Now he faces challenges within himself. Is he a fighter or a musician? So this is where he gets into the Bard class, because he went and took all these classes when he was with the elves to learn to become a Bard, but he still has his physical prowess from when he was an orc clan leader with the tribunal orcs. So it's this tough decision of, wait, where do I want to be? Where do I want to go with my life? For personality and ideals, we have the biggest challenge of life is to be yourself in a world that is trying to make you like everyone else, aka should he be like a regular orc, or should he be a new type of orc, a bard orc? Let's move on to his physical description. He carries a didgeridoo to play at bars, and he knows how to circular breathe. This instrument also seconds as a weapon that few could wield without the prowess of an orc. So if you don't know what a didgeridoo is, I'm going to throw a picture up of the screen right now. So it's a long-looking instrument. It's actually from Australia, and it can be used, and it's got this really low kind of guttural sound, and I love it. It's so cool. And circular breathing is when you breathe in through your nose while you breathe out through your mouth. Yeah, have you ever tried that? It's not easy. So he's able to do that, and people love hearing that because it's something new and different. So not only is there an orc that's coming in as a bard, but he's playing an instrument that is not known to the peoples of Terranoth. But here's the thing. He also can use it as a weapon, which is so cool because it's like a staff. So he still has a weapon, which I think is awesome. So the 6 skills that I picked for our orc is endurance, brawling, dueling, devotion, performance, and streetwise. Endurance here represents your ability to resist physical stress over the course of a long period of time. Having endurance means that you are more able to push yourself physically or resist physical damage. Definitely an orc. Brawling represents your prowess in a fist fight, while wrestling or in an all-out brawl. In a brawl, there are no rules, and anything from your fist to the broken leg of a chair is weapon enough, or hey, a didgeridoo. Dueling represents your ability to handle yourself in a one-on-one confrontation. When it comes to a duel, you should be prepared whether you fight with a fist, rapier, or other weapons. Devotion represents your knowledge of spiritual beliefs and folklore. Your devotion may even be enough to commune with the spirits and seek their assistance. So yeah, that one's probably the weakest one for our orc. Maybe I'm not using devotion the way that I'm thinking I am. So maybe we should change that one. Curious what you guys think. Performance represents your ability to entertain or inspire with grand tales or epic ballads. Whether resting or in the heart of battle, your performance will lend courage and hope to your allies. If you ever heard this orc play the didgeridoo, you would understand why I gave him that. Streetwise represents your general knowledge of social etiquette and your ability to gather information from the locals. Tracking a villain through the streets is easy if you know who to ask and who to bribe. He's going to have to bribe someone to get himself into a bar and play a didgeridoo, right? Now we move to the 2 New Roads adventure book. Here's the thing. I'm going to read you the first part of this book so you understand what the story is, and there's one question that comes up or a choice for us to make, and I want you to help me make that first choice as well based on my orc. And that's still not going to be spoilery because the first time you open this up, that's what you're going to see. At least I don't think it's too spoilery, but if you think it is, you can stop watching right now. You slump down on the wooden bench, stretching your legs. You've been traveling for nearly a week now toward a small village called Dragonholt. Your journey is at the request of Celise, a former adventuring companion and friend, who has since found her calling as a tutor at the children of Countess Regina Fairfax, Lady of Dragonholt. You take a moment to reread the letter. My friend, I pray this letter finds you in good health for once, because I need you to travel. As you might have heard, I have taken a position as a tutor in the household of Lady Regina Fairfax, Countess of Dragonholt, just outside the village. I elected to take this position because I hoped for some peace and quiet after that business in Narrakal. Had I known what my future held, I would have done something else entirely. Lady Regina's 3 children are more than lively enough to deny me anything resembling peace or quiet. Even now that they are mainly grown, I remain very busy. But I did not write to you to complain about my lot in life. As you know, I never complain, even when the so-called dwarven wine is very obviously an inferior human vintage. Again, or when my very favorite cloak, the blue one, is stained by some drunken lush spilling his wine. Elves should really stay out of human taverns. I write to you because I fear something sinister is at work here in Dragonholt, and I require your assistance. I dare not say more openly, as I think it likely this message will be intercepted. I can trust no one here to help me with this matter. After that business in Narrakal, I have only you and a small handful of other allies left. Please help me. There's more at stake than you know. Celise. You are uncertain why Celise has summoned you to Dragonholt. Her letter is strange, speaking only of a vague threat that requires your assistance. And although you are sure the letter was written in her hand, the message contains several details that you find uncharacteristic of the elf you adventured with in the past. You had never known Celise to drink dwarven wine, and you would swear she always wore a green cloak. It is not unthinkable that her preferences have changed over the years, but something about the way the message is written makes you feel there is more to the letter than is obvious. You've always known Celeste to be excessively proper in her speaking. She must have been in a panic while writing to have produced so many spelling errors. Even more alarming is the brief note on the back of the letter. You had not received any word from Celeste before this one. Could she have sent another letter that was intercepted as she had feared? Regardless of the vagueness of her request, you owe Celeste at least this much after the business in Narikal. As the tutor in the employ of a countess, she may be in a position to reward you handsomely for any assistance you can render. Excuse me, is this road the fastest way to Dragonholt? You look up from the letter to see Miriam, a gnome merchant you've been traveling with, talking to another traveler and pointing down a path toward a forbidding-looking forest. Aye, if you're going to Dragonholt, you'll have to go through Eventide Forest. Ain't no way around it. About a day's travel straight through. Miriam thanks the traveler, and he continues on his way in the direction opposite the forest. You fold the letter and stow it away before standing. It won't do to rest for too long. You sling your baggage over your shoulder and prepare to resume your travels. Miriam turns to face you. Well, what are you waiting for? If that's the road to Dragonholt, let's be off. Miriam had been traveling with you for some 3 days now. Like you, she's traveling to Dragonholt, and, as she put it when you met, the more the merrier. We should proceed with caution, called Braxton from behind you. The orc woman hefts Miriam's bags off the ground where the gnome had left it and drops it into Miriam's open arms. Rumor has it there are bandits who make camp in these woods. We should watch our backs as we pass through. Since meeting Miriam and the orc knight-errant, you have found Braxton to be the more cautious of the pair by a wide margin. As far as you can tell, Miriam has hired Braxton for protection, but at times the orc seems to dote on the gnome more than a bodyguard would. You nod in agreement at Braxton's comment. With a last fleeting glance at the crossroads signpost, you follow after the energetic gnome who has already started off toward Eventide Forest. So here's our 3 questions. Let's make some headway before we lose the light. We can read entry 2883. What else have you heard about those bandits? Read 7773. Or stick close, Miriam. It's dangerous to get separated. So which one do you think our orc bard would have said? That is the setup and the intro to Legacy of Dragonholt. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know, 1, what you think for a name for an orc bard. Number 2, what you think I should do for skills, if I should change anything or upgrade anything or delete one. What do you think about that? And then number 3, which one of those options should we start off with? Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode.